Welcome to Managing the Future, the MIS podcast. We're really glad you could join us. Today, we're doing a deep dive into introduction to data analysis with Excel. Now, this is a really key topic, not just if you're a Dr. Sam Pack College of Business student, but honestly, for any aspiring business professional. It's all about understanding the language of data. And this deep dive, it's really designed to help you, college students, future leaders, get a handle on these core MIS concepts. We're drawing insights from the textbook Connect Master, Management Information Systems by Richard Tedmon and Tedmon Wilhelm. Now, you probably use Excel already, right? Maybe for like simple budgets, making lists, a few basic sums. But the thing is, Excel is, well, it's way more powerful and versatile than you might realize. It's pretty much everywhere in business data. Sales, marketing, finance, healthcare, even scientific research. It's kind of the backbone. So if you're looking for a shortcut to getting really well informed, picking up practical skills you'll actually use, you're definitely in the right place. Make sure to like, subscribe, follow, share us, comment, stay in the loop.
That's absolutely right. Tedmon and Wilhelm really emphasized this point. Excel, being part of the Microsoft Office suite, it's much more than just a grid of cells. It's a fundamental tool. It's got this whole ecosystem of functions, add-ins, things designed for, well, everything from complex stats to creating really compelling visuals. Visuals that actually turn raw numbers into insights you can act on. It's really where data starts to make sense.
Okay, so let's unpack this a bit. Instead of just listing features, maybe let's start with a bigger question. Why is Excel still so central across all these industries? What kinds of real strategic problems does it actually solve for businesses today?
Yeah, that's a great way to look at it. Excel's real strength is its adaptability. It might look simple, but its uses are incredibly diverse. They directly hit real business challenges. So, for example, in sales and marketing, indispensable. Think beyond just, keeping customer lists. Excel gets used for sophisticated stuff like A/B testing, comparing two campaign versions, or for complex sales forecasting, helping companies predict demand, manage inventory better. Then you got accounting. Of course, it's core for budgeting, forecasting, but it's also crucial for things like audit trail documentation, having that clear history of transactions. That's vital for compliance. And in banking and finance, professionals use it for all sorts. Intricate financial modeling, options pricing, calculating potential investment values or loan amortization, figuring out how payments break down over time. Even fields like medicine and science, Excel is key. For research data analysis, managing clinical studies, tracking patient data, it lets researchers visualize really complex data sets or monitor things like environmental trends.
Wow, okay, so it really is everywhere. What does that mean for you, our listeners, as future business leaders? Whether you end up managing sales or in finance or analyzing market trends, it means understanding these tools isn't just about software skills, right? It's about being equipped to make smart data-driven decisions. It's about looking at the numbers and being able to ask, okay, what's the story here?
Exactly. So let's shift gears a bit. We've talked about where it's used. Now let's get into how Excel actually helps us analyze and visualize that data, starting with some of the fundamentals, the tools that really empower that storytelling.
Right. And when you talk about making data speak, visualization is just crucial. Charts aren't just, decoration. They're your main tool for showing results clearly, compellingly. They turn those dense numbers into something you can grasp instantly.
Absolutely. And inserting a chart is pretty straightforward. You just highlight the data you want, go to the insert ribbon, and pick the chart type that tells your story best. So, like, if you're comparing sales across different product categories, bar graphs are great for that. If you want to show how company revenue changed over, say, the last 5 years, line graphs are perfect for showing trends over time and for showing parts of a whole budget spending. For instance, pie charts are often the go-to, though use them carefully. And once you make the chart, you get these two new tabs, Design and Format. They give you loads of options for customizing. But it's really critical to remember the basics. A clear title, labels for your axes, maybe data labels on the bars or points, and a legend so people know what's what. These make sure your audience gets it right away.
And speaking of visuals, color matters too, doesn't it? Like using red for losses or risks, green for gains.
Definitely. Those color conventions are pretty common in business reporting. Using color thoughtfully really helps reinforce your message. Just don't overdo it.
Okay, so charts are key for presentation. But before you even get there, there's this really critical step you mentioned, data cleansing. That old saying, garbage in, garbage out. It really applies here, doesn't it? If your data is messy or unstructured, well, your conclusions are going to be wrong, potentially disastrously wrong.
That's such a critical point. Seriously, imagine you're analyzing customer feedback, right? But you've got entries like product A, and then maybe product A all lowercase. Or you have duplicate customer records screwing up your counts. Common cleanup tasks are exactly that. Removing duplicates, getting rid of weird special characters that mess up formulas, trimming extra spaces someone accidentally typed, and also validating data, making sure things are consistent. This whole process, it's how you turn that raw, noisy data into something clean, something reliable you can actually trust.
Exactly. And Excel actually has some pretty neat tools to help with this, right? Things that handle those common frustrations. You can use find and replace for quick text fixes. Text to columns is great for splitting data that's crammed into one cell. Conditional formatting can visually flag problems, like those inconsistent names, or just simple filtering to isolate specific things you need to fix. And this is where it gets, really interesting for you as future business pros. Data cleansing isn't just some technical chore you have to do. It's the absolute foundation for reliable insights. It tackles those real-world headaches, inconsistent product names, missing values, maybe even dealing with outliers, those extreme values that can totally throw off your analysis and lead you to make bad calls.
Right. And building on that clean foundation, let's talk about organizing data efficiently. Using things like named ranges and structured referencing. Creating a named range. It's basically like giving a nickname, a meaningful name, to a specific block of cells. This makes your spreadsheet so much clearer. It simplifies how you refer to data in formulas, especially complex ones. Makes the whole workbook easier to understand, particularly if you're sharing it or collaborating. Plus, it helps with dynamic formulas and charts, the kind that update automatically if your data range grows or changes.
And converting data to an Excel table first, that helps too, right? Which is pretty easy.
Super easy. Just select your data range, go to the Insert tab, click Table, then, okay, boom, you have a table.
And then you can use structured referencing. This is honestly a total game changer. Instead of those cryptic cell references like, A1B10, you can go to the Table Design tab, give your table a sensible name like Sales Data, and then write formulas like SSM, Sales Data Revenue. It makes your formulas incredibly clear, so much easier to read and debug, absolutely invaluable when you're working with big data sets or on critical projects with others.
Makes a huge difference. Now, thinking about time. Time-based insights are often super critical in business. Excel's advanced date functions are really useful here. The date function, for instance, lets you build a proper date using year, month, and day numbers. Good for consistency. Dative calculates the difference between two dates, years, months, days. Perfect for tracking how long a project took or maybe customer life cycles. And network days is essential for planning. It counts only the working days between two dates, skipping weekends automatically. Crucial for accurate project timelines or billing cycles.
And Excel's pretty smart about dates generally, isn't it? It usually recognizes common formats like MMD, DYYY, or DDMMYYYY. It can even autocorrect small typos sometimes, which saves a lot of frustration.
It does. And you always have control. For professional reports, you can right-click a cell, choose Format Cells, and set a custom date format to match, say, your company's standard style.
Okay, dates make sense. What about logical functions, making decisions within the spreadsheet?
Ah, yes. Logical functions are basically how Excel answers true, false questions. They let you automate decision-making. So a simple example might be A and D, B35, B310. That checks if the value in B3 is both greater than 5 and less than 10. It returns true if both are correct, false otherwise. The I function is probably the most common one. It's really powerful for comparisons. It lets you specify one result if a condition is true and a different result if it's false. The basic structure is IF, logical test, value if true, value if false.
Right. And there are others too, like not or IFER.
Exactly. False, not, IFER, or. And the really powerful thing is that you can nest them. You can combine these functions to build quite complex decision trees right within your formulas.
So you could check multiple conditions before deciding something, like if a customer gets a discount or if an employee qualifies for a bonus.
Precisely. You can automate some pretty sophisticated decision-making processes directly in your data using these logical functions combined.
Okay, moving on to handling larger data sets. Pivot tables. These always come up. When should someone really use them?
Pivot tables are your absolute go-to when you need to summarize, analyze, explore, and present large, complex data sets efficiently. They're fantastic for pulling out meaningful insights by letting you dynamically rearrange and aggregate your data.
What's the big advantage over just, say, sorting and filtering?
The aha moment with pivot tables is realizing they don't just sort. They reveal patterns. They instantly aggregate data across multiple dimensions, like summing sales by region and by product category simultaneously. This lets you spot trends, problems, or maybe opportunities that you'd completely miss just by filtering rows. And you can do it incredibly quickly, often in just seconds.
Okay, so how do you actually make one? Is it complicated?
The basic steps are pretty straightforward. First, make sure your data is clean and well-structured, ideally in an Excel table. Then, select your data. Go to the Insert tab, click Pivot Table, confirm the data range, decide where you want the pivot table, new sheet is usually best, and click OK. Then comes the design part. You use the pivot table field list. This pane usually pops up on the right. You just drag your field names, like region, product, sales amount, into the different areas: rows, columns, values, and filters. As you drag fields, the pivot table builds itself instantly. Then you review it, maybe customize the formatting or calculations, and bam, you've got these powerful summaries from what might have been thousands of rows of raw data.
That sounds incredibly useful for making sense of big lists. Now, what about finding specific information? Like if you need to find one customer's details in a huge list.
Ah, yes. Lookup functions. If you've ever manually scrolled through a massive spreadsheet looking for one specific piece of info, like finding a product's price using its ID, you know how painful that can be, lookup functions are designed precisely for that. They quickly find and retrieve a value from one table or range based on a matching value in another. Think of them as Excel's built-in search engine for your data.
So there are a few different ones, right? VLOOKUP, HLOOKUP.
Right. The main ones traditionally were VLOOKUP and HLOOKUP. VLOOKUP searches vertically down the first column of a table array. HLOOKUP searches horizontally across the top row. But now the star player is really XLOOKUP. It's much more versatile. It can look up data vertically or horizontally, and crucially, it can search in columns to the left of your lookup column or rows above your lookup row, overcoming a major limitation of VLOOKUP.
Okay, so XLOOKUP is the newer, better one. How did VLOOKUP work, just for context?
With VLOOKUP, you'd tell it: 1, what value you're looking for; 2, the table array where to look, and the lookup value must be in the first column of this array; 3, the column number within that array that contains the result you want; and 4, whether you need an exact match, usually false for exact. It's fine for simple tasks where you just need to look to the right.
Right. I remember hearing about that limitation VLOOKUP only looking right, and you had to count columns. That sounds prone to errors if the table changes.
Exactly. It was fragile. If someone inserted or deleted a column in your lookup table, your VLOOKUP formula could break or return the wrong result.
So how do you get around that? You mentioned XLOOKUP, but is there another way?
Yes, the classic powerful combination is index and match. This was the go-to solution before XLOOKUP became widely available, and it's still incredibly useful and robust.
Index and match. How does that work?
Think of it in two parts. MTCH finds the relative position, like the row number, of your lookup value within a specific column or row, your lookup range. Then, index takes that position number and returns the value from the corresponding position in a different column or row, your return range. The syntax looks something like index, range where result is, match where you're looking for a range to look in 0. The 0 tells MTCH to find an exact match.
Ah, okay. So matches finds the where, and index gets the what from that where. That sounds much more flexible than VLOOKUP.
It is incredibly flexible. You aren't restricted to looking right, and you refer to the actual range as not column number, so it's much less likely to break if your table structure changes. XLOOKUP simplifies this even further, but understanding index match is still really valuable.
Okay, great. We've covered a lot of the core functions. Now let's shift to some of those strategic power tools you mentioned earlier, the ones that really elevate Excel, especially thinking about MIS roles and how Excel is evolving with things like AI.
Absolutely. Let's talk about what-if analysis first. This is all about exploring different scenarios. You change certain input values in your spreadsheet and see how those changes affect your calculated results. It's like a playground for business decisions.
A crystal ball, you said earlier?
Sort of. There are 3 main tools here: Scenario Manager, Data Tables, and Goal Seek. Scenario Manager lets you define and save different sets of input values as named scenarios. So you could model a best case, worst case, and most likely case for sales based on different assumptions about, say, interest rates or marketing spend. You set up your model, identify the key changing cells, then use Data What-If Analysis Scenario Manager to create and easily switch between these scenarios to compare outcomes.
Okay, so Scenario Manager is for comparing whole sets of changes. What about data tables?
Data tables are brilliant for seeing how changes in just 1 or 2 specific input variables affect a particular formula result. You set up a table structure, tell Excel which input cell to vary and what output formula to track, and it instantly fills the table showing all the results for different input combinations. Perfect for things like seeing how different prices and unit costs affect profit. Super easy visual comparison.
And GoalSeek sounds like it works the other way around.
Exactly. GoalSeek is for when you know the result you want from a formula, but you need to figure out what input value will get you there. You tell it, set the cell with the formula to this value by changing this input cell. For example, if you want a specific monthly payment on a car loan, your target result, GoalSeek can calculate the required down payment, the changing input cell, needed to achieve that payment. It works backward for you.
That's really practical. So for you students listening, think about how you could use these. If you were managing that car dealership we mentioned, maybe use Scenario Manager to compare profit scenarios for gas versus electric cars under different economic conditions.
Good example.
Or if you're buying that car, use GoalSeek. Figure out exactly what down payment hits that monthly payment target you can afford. These are direct tools for strategic planning and personal finance.
Definitely. Now, another powerful predictive tool built right in is the forecast sheet function. This makes creating time series forecasts and visualizing future trends surprisingly straightforward. It handles a lot of the complex statistics behind the scenes.
Easier than trying to build a forecast manually.
Oh, much easier for standard time series data. You just need your data organized properly. One column with the consistent date or time series, and another with the corresponding values you want to forecast, like sales, inventory levels, website traffic. You highlight that range, go to the Data tab, find the Forecast group, and click Forecast Sheet. Excel analyzes the data, detects seasonality if it exists, and creates a new sheet with the forecast chart and the predicted values.
And you can tweak it.
Yep. You can configure things like how far out you want to forecast, the forecast end date. You can adjust the confidence interval, that shaded area on the chart showing the likely range of the forecast, and you can tell it how to handle seasonality.
So really useful for practical business planning. Like that toy store example, using past sales data to forecast holiday demand with Forecast Sheet helps them order inventory much more accurately, avoids having too much stock left over, or worse, running out of popular toys.
It gives you that data-driven glimpse into the future to inform today's decisions.
Okay, beyond the built-in tools, let's talk about those power tools. Power Query, Power Pivot, Power BI. These sound like they take things to another level.
They absolutely do. These are technically add-ins, though they're increasingly integrated. They're designed for handling much larger, more complex data scenarios than standard Excel is really built for. And yes, they often work together.
So first up, Power Query. You called it the data janitor.
Yeah, or maybe the data wrangler. Its main job is data transformation and preparation, getting your data ready for analysis, especially when it comes from different places where AMPA4 is messy.
So it cleans and reshapes data.
Exactly. Power Query lets you connect to a huge variety of data sources, databases, websites, folders full of files, you name it. Then you use its visual interface to clean the data, like removing errors, changing data types, reshape it, like unpivoting columns, merge or append data from different sources, and then load that clean, transformed data into Excel, usually into an Excel table or directly into Power Pivot.
And the big benefit is?
Repeatability and connection. You build the query steps once. Then, if your source data updates later, you just hit refresh in Excel, and Power Query automatically reruns all those cleaning and transformation steps on the new data. Huge time saver. Ensures consistency.
Okay, so Power Query gets the data ready. Then what about Power Pivot? Sounds like it handles the heavy lifting.
That's a good way to put it. Power Pivot is designed to handle massive data sets. We're talking millions, even hundreds of millions of rows, far beyond Excel's normal limits.
Yeah.
And it lets you build sophisticated data models by creating relationships between multiple tables.
Relationships. Like linking sales data to customer data.
Precisely. You might have a sales table, a customers table, a products table, maybe a calendar table. In Power Pivot, you can define relationships between them based on common fields, like customer ID or product ID. This lets you analyze data across all these tables seamlessly, as if they were one giant table, but much more efficiently.
And you can do calculations within this model?
Yes, using DAX data analysis expressions. DAX is the formula language for Power Pivot and Power BI. It's like Excel formulas, but much more powerful, designed for working across related tables and performing complex calculations like year-over-year growth, running totals, or customer lifetime value metrics. You create these as measures or calculated columns within your Power Pivot model.
So Power Query cleans Power Pivot models and calculates on big data, then Power BI. That's the visualization part.
Primarily, yes. Power BI is Microsoft's dedicated business intelligence and data visualization platform. While Power Query and Power Pivot handle the back-end data work, and you can do a lot of this within Power BI itself too, Power BI excels at creating rich, interactive reports and dashboards.
Interactive how?
Users can click on charts and slicers, and all the other visuals on the report dynamically filter and update based on their selections. It allows for deep exploration of the data. Often the workflow is use Power Query to get in clean data, use Power Pivot, either in Excel or Power BI, to model it and create DAX measures, and then use Power BI Desktop to build the interactive visualizations and publish them to the Power BI service for sharing.
Got it. A powerful trio. And finally, the really new stuff, AI integration with Microsoft Copilot.
Right, Copilot represents bringing AI assistance directly into your Excel workflow. It aims to speed up analysis and also help you discover ways to analyze your data you might not have thought of.
How does it actually work in Excel?
The idea is you might select your data range, and then perhaps in a side pane or as you start typing a formula, Copilot offers suggestions. It might suggest relevant formulas, help you build complex functions, generate chart recommendations, or even provide summaries or insights based on the selected data.
Like having an AI assistant right there.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
It can suggest formulas, auto-complete them, maybe even help generate Python code if you're using that integration. It can also offer ideas for visualization techniques or help explain parts of your data.
Reliability. Accuracy.
The crucial point. It's an assistant. You absolutely must double-check everything Copilot suggests. Understand the formulas it generates, verify the results, make sure the insights make sense in your business context. AI is powerful, but it's not infallible. It's there to augment your skills and critical thinking, not replace them.
That makes sense. Treat it as a helpful suggestion engine, but you're still the pilot. And what's fascinating here, like you said, is how this connects directly to MIS. AI isn't some abstract concept anymore. It's becoming embedded in the everyday tools like Excel that you'll be using to find insights from data.
We've really covered a lot of ground today, haven't we? From those fundamental Excel functions charting, cleansing through organizing with tables and named ranges, using data and logical functions, summarizing with pivot tables, finding data with lookups, all the way to the advanced stuff like what-if analysis, forecast sheets, the whole Power Suite query, pivot, BI, and now even AI with Copilot. It really hammers home how vital and versatile Excel remains in MIS. It equips you to turn that raw data into actual strategic intelligence.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive into data analysis with Excel. We really hope this has given you, our student listeners, a clearer view of just how powerful this tool can be for your studies and your future careers. So here's a final thought to chew on. After hearing about all these tools from the basics to the advanced power features in AI, what's the one specific function or tool you're most excited to explore further? Which one do you think could have the biggest impact on your own projects, academic, or maybe even business ideas, and why? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. We'd love to hear what sparked your interest. And please remember to like, subscribe, follow, share, and comment. It helps us keep bringing you these deep dives on managing the future, the MIS podcast. We'll catch you on the next one.